My name is Lauren, and this is my story. A story about trust, betrayal, and the moment I realized the man I loved was nothing more than a stranger. We all think we know the people we love, their routines, their habits, their secrets. But sometimes the person closest to you is the one wearing the deepest mask. This is how I uncovered the truth, and how my life turned into a lie. Jake and I were together for 6 years. He was my everything. Thoughtful, reliable, and the kind of man you could build a future with, or so I believed. We had a routine: Sunday brunches, movie nights on Thursdays, and late-night talks about our dreams. He had quirks I loved, like how he always carried 2 sets of keys, or how he hummed under his breath when he was deep in thought. But now, those little quirks haunt me, because they were clues I missed. The truth started to unravel not through a text message or a social media post, but in the most unexpected way, a simple mistake Jake never thought I'd notice. It happened on a Friday evening. I had taken Jake's car to get groceries because mine was in the shop. He didn't usually let me drive his car, but this time he tossed me the keys without hesitation. On the way home, I noticed something odd. The glove compartment was slightly open, and inside, I saw a small slip of paper, a receipt. It wasn't the receipt itself that caught my attention, but what was written on it. 2 guests. Date, March 14th, Table 7. My heart sank. March 14th was the night Jake told me he was working late. We had argued that night because I had planned a surprise dinner, and he never showed up. He made me feel guilty, said I was being clingy. But now, in my hands, was proof that he wasn't at work. He was at dinner, with someone else. That receipt became an obsession. I knew I had to find out more. So I did something I'd never done before. I called the restaurant. I don't even know what I was hoping for, but the words the hostess said shattered me. Yes, I remember them. The gentleman made a reservation for 2. They were celebrating an anniversary. An anniversary? My mind was spinning. I couldn't breathe. Who was he celebrating with? It wasn't me. Suddenly, everything clicked. The late nights, the sudden business trips, the unexplained expenses. I had ignored so many red flags because I didn't want to see the truth. But now I couldn't look away. I waited until Jake got home that night. He walked in like nothing had happened, kissed me on the forehead, and asked about my day. I felt sick to my stomach just looking at him. I didn't confront him right away. Instead, I asked him how his day had been. He told me he was swamped with meetings. Another lie, effortlessly rolling off his tongue. That's when I pulled the receipt from my pocket and held it up. "Where were you on March 14th?" I asked. His face froze. He stuttered, trying to come up with an excuse, but he couldn't. I watched as the mask he had worn for years started to slip. "You were with her, weren't you?" My voice was calm, but inside I was burning. Jake finally spoke, but it wasn't an apology. It was a pathetic excuse, an attempt to minimize everything. "It wasn't serious, Lauren. She doesn't mean anything." But his words didn't matter. The betrayal had already broken me. I thought the worst part would be discovering the truth, but it wasn't. The worst part was realizing that the man I loved had been lying to my face for months, maybe even years. Everything we shared, every laugh, every promise, every "I love you," felt like a joke. I didn't recognize him anymore. In that moment, Jake became a stranger to me. I packed a bag that night and walked away. I didn't scream, I didn't beg for answers. I didn't need them. I had seen the truth with my own eyes. Betrayal doesn't just break your heart, it breaks your sense of reality. The life I thought I had, the person I thought I loved, they were all lies. But I've learned something since that night. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who hurt you the most, and sometimes walking away is the strongest thing you can do. Jake's lies became my reality, but I won't let them define me. I'll rebuild, I'll heal, and one day, I'll trust again. This was my story. And maybe it's yours too.